Hey guys, good afternoon. Today we're going to go through a couple of these. Got a whole bunch of them laid out on the table for us to go through. Because I don't know a lot about ancient art, ancient civilizations and things, I'm really kind of reaching out to you guys to look at some of these things and tell me maybe if you see anything that is important. The first piece I want to show you guys is this one. So I have been able to do a little bit more research on like ancient culture and Mayan culture and things, and apparently this tea, not necessarily this tea, but the tea, was some type of emblem, maybe worn as a necklace or something. And so right off the bat, I wanted to show you guys this so that maybe you can provide some insight on what this may be. I guess we can go ahead and start over here. So at this location where I learned how to see this art, there are not a lot of arrowheads or spear points. What I thought they were at first were preforms. Like I said, I'm not a rock collector or artifact hunter, so I was just getting into this between jobs, and found this site that had a lot of large pieces of quartz, such as this one, and then underneath these pieces of quartz would be all these little arrowheads and scraps and broken arrowheads and just different types of material. This one, of course, I believe represents a bird head. It's got a very chiseled out eye there. It's like rounded in there. Almost looks like it's polished out. You can see all the detail there, resembling maybe a bird skull. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with a lot of these pieces. As we know, they're multifaceted. Some of these ones we've already gone through. There's a couple on here that I've been able to add to the premium collection. This is that little bird I pulled out of a clay pack. I took the video down because people were saying they couldn't see the bird. Of course, this is the beak, and that's his tail there. So he was packed into a clay skull that was near the mound that I found. So that's representative of a bird, just as this is representative of a bird, a little cardinal. If you put him like this, he turns into a goose head, as we've talked about before. There's a lot going on with him. He's a dog as well. He's also a person with a cone head or a headdress. Now, I've learned a little bit about, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but the cone head, I guess people were that was a thing that they wanted to do, was to make their heads a little pointy. So they did some things to make that happen. That's as far as I'm going to go with that, because I'm still learning about it. This is the first piece I ever found, and probably the only arrowhead I ever found. So this was just sitting in the side of the hill, and I saw the outline of the arrowhead. I went to pick it up, and this whole thing came up. So this is, I imagine it's a piece of pottery, because you can see how it's curved and it's like burnt on the inside. And then the outside there, it just has the little arrowhead, little broken piece. We'll go through a couple of these easy ones real quick. Of course, this is a blocky totem man. Of course, the shadows will help to see him a little better there. Found another colored piece, kind of like the child's toy. It's got a little bit of red paint on it still. And of course, this would probably be a bird, much of the same style as this wide-tailed one here. So you'll notice that a lot of these are shaped like bird heads, and some of them even have some of the ink still left in for the eye. And let's just go ahead over to here, and we're gonna go ahead and start going through a couple pretty quickly. So the V shape, of course, is a bird in flight, a little heart. I thought these were just crafting materials at first. You'll notice that even though they're abstract, they always will have an eye and a beak. See all the little heart-shaped guys here. These are all little birds. I'm trying to keep my phone focused best I can, sorry. Maybe I'll just roll down here, and some of them you kind of have to tilt in order to see. You can see there, the beak is still red on the right-hand side. Even have little itty-bitty tiny ones. Some painted rocks. Because this site is full of clay, a lot of these came out really nicely. As in the paint and things are still on them. So just kind of like that one, how it's got that little lidge. Oh, there it is. Look at that bird. So I guess this would be like a cardinal. That's his beak, his eye there, and the top coming up. And you'll notice the style. A lot of times the styles are the same. So just as in, just like this one, you know, that similar style. I tried to keep a couple of them together that have that type of style. You can see lots of the little crystal birds, little quartz birds. Sometimes they're just bird beaks here. I think this one is pretty good. Resembles the rocky blocky totem man that I have. Now, I'm not an artifact collector. Like I say, I'm just trying to raise awareness for a site. I just found all these over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Didn't know that I was artifact collecting at a burial site until I saw the mound and realized what was going on. And since then, I've been trying to contact archaeologists in every way I can in my state here in North Carolina to get attention to this. This is not my stuff. I'm just guarding it for right now. None of this stuff actually belongs to me, just to be clear. This is just things that I have found that probably need to go to some type of place where the public can come and check them out. So you'll see all these V's. These are also all the birds. I've got a couple different tools and things that I should probably be showing you more than the birds, because what I need to do is get the site recognized. And so showing you these things, the birds and the abstract art probably isn't going to get me very far. So from what I understand, some of these are like prismatic shards, or they're like knife blades, or just basically like a pocket knife. See some pretty large ones here. I still have some of the rocks or stones that are very shiny and have probably precious metals in them. This one is a bird head. So picking up a lot of these, you know, I thought, since I didn't know anything about stuff, I guess that, you know, these were preforms. This is what they're, I guess, making their smaller spearheads or weapons with. This one I'll go ahead and turn around for you so you can see the, sometimes you got to look down the edge to see the ripples there. This stone is a pretty heavy stone. Not sure what it was for, but it's big and flat. Some type of tool perhaps. A lot of little things with like little finger ridges in them. When I first started collecting, you know, I thought maybe they were just like polishers, which is maybe the case with this one. A lot of this green stone stuck in this type of cement. If anybody knows what that is, be interesting to know. Let's go back over here to some of the dice. A lot of these little cubes and things are what are found in the caches. They were, you know, these folks were very into geometry This one's a very cool one. But as you can see, there's lots of little cubes. These are little bird effigies here. I think that this may be an emblem of some sort, a tribal emblem. I'm not exactly sure though. Let's take a look real quick at some of these better duck heads. This, of course, is a duck head with his beak facing to the right and his eye. This one's a very detailed one. Here's another duck head, same side, right profile, and if you get him just right, you can see that his beak is just a little duck head, isn't he? I like this one a lot. This is a totem man. You still see some of his paint on him. He's got his eye, nose, and mouth. He's dual-sided, so you can even cover him up like this to just see the one side, and cover him up the other way to see the other. Looks like he still has a face paint on. There's another painted one. A bird head, I believe. The white part, I guess, being the beak. That might be another bird somehow there. Maybe it's like this. Yeah, probably like that. Also have a lot of crystal and quartz birds heads. Put this one up to the sun. Imagine the light might come through here at the eye section. That's the way a lot of the crystal ones seem to work. This reminds me of some of the stuff that I see coming from Vermont, this type of rock. This is also a bird beak. All right, so we see that, you guys remember Beard Mohawk guy here. This is Beard Mohawk guy, and then of course he's got a bird on the back there. There's his beak and his forked tail. Well, I have a similar one here without the paint on it. So this is Beard guy. He's got his beard there. And you turn him around and he'll be Mohawk guy. I'm not really seeing him very well right now. It is kind of early, guys, and it's like once you get into seeing this art, it does take a lot out of you. It certainly does. It's an intense type of art, and it is a strength and a skill that you can kind of, if you lay off it for a little while, it'll wane, and if you get into it, it gets really intense. So I've laid off on trying to see too many deep images in these so that I can provide the evidence that we need to try to save this area that I learned this stuff at. You'll see a lot of these diamond shapes. Like I said, they're really big into geometry. Okay, so here's a traditional digging tool. I believe this one was a hoe or a hatchet. It's got the spot on the side. Also has a little bit of marking where it may have been attached to something from there, but I think mostly it was for this side, like that. I have a wooden stick that fits in there perfect, because like I said, this is a clay area, and so there are lots of wooden tools there as well. I'm not sure what this is. Probably some type of knife or a scraper, but you know, one of the things the Smithsonian says to do is to see if it fits in the hand, so I do that. Take a look at a couple more of these, which may be more traditional broken arrowhead types. Some of them are bi-face, I guess you call them, where they're chipped on both sides, but many of them just have one side. I thought that, like I said, a lot of these were just supplies, and that still may be the case here. It's a really cool one. So you're not getting on the back of them, you're not getting that, you know, the notches and stuff that you would get on a traditional arrowhead, like the one in the piece of pottery there. This one is the only one that I found. It's not even an arrowhead, it's just on a piece of pottery that has those notches. So who knows where that one came from? It may have come from a later people's. Not really sure, right? So some more of these little odd ones. And some very cool colored rocks and stones here. Very unique ones. If the sun was out a little bit, you could see some more of these shining, but So we have this hard rock, I think is what traditionally a lot of arrowheads and things were made out of. I guess I think it's called chert, but I am not sure. Of course, duck head. This round stone was in a cache as well. Some more of that green stone there. Let's take a look at this one. These did get wet last night. I had to come out real quick and try to pick up any painted pieces that I had. These may just be some little flakes here. Let's take a look at this guy here. I think he was to be fitted onto a tool as well. He's got the little notches there, but maybe he's just a polisher. I understand these are called turtleback scrapers. That's what this is here. Take a look at this one next to some of the cubes here. Oh, there's some bugs on these. That's why I got these out of my house. I had all these on my kitchen table for about a week learning how to see this stuff. Oh wow, I never noticed that there's like a little spot, little eye in there. So you'll notice this one does have that little lidge coming out. Probably has a lot of things going on. Just some quartz scrapers, extremely sharp still. That one not so much, but this one very sharp still, extremely sharp. Some of these have little grips on them. Hoping you guys can see that okay. Sorry for the fingernails, and I've been digging in dirt for the past 3 weeks. These are some really neat, I guess they were manufacturing these here, because there's a lot of really just defined quartz crystal faces in there that may not be like the best quality. I don't think that these probably ever left the area. They may have just gotten made and then just left right off, but maybe buried and stored for later. But you can see all these different chiseling. Maybe they were just doing some experimenting. Got a couple of these pieces that are very like chiseled out and have some weird things going on with them. Polished on certain ends. Some of them may be broken. That's following the same trend of whole bird on one side, bird head on the other. That one's a pretty abstract one. This whole area is full with a lot of these. I believe they go in the right hand, but they're like pecking tools. However, this one looks like it may have been like a polishing one. It's very flat. It doesn't look like it's snapped, but it may very well have. You can see some lines in there. Maybe that can help some of you archaeologist types, or just helping me identify some of these tools would be a great help. That way I can bring these things out to as my evidence for trying to save this ancient site. Like I said, I'm a novice at this. I just fell into being able to see this art somehow, some way. And other than that, though, I don't know anything about this stuff. So anything you guys can do to help by sending email, which is in the description, or if you can just leave a comment and let me know. This is a really cool one. It's a long bird. That's his beak and his head, and his tail's going down there. That's really pretty. You know, a lot of these I just thought were pokers or scrapers. They probably were. They were probably also used to draw on and to use as tools as well. Got some more of those types. I got a lot of stuff here, and just kind of want to show you guys what I pulled out here. My brother came over to help me kind of pick out some different stuff, but it was raining when he was over, so I ended up just knowing he was coming over was giving me the motivation to get all this out so I could show you guys. So these are, the supplies that they would put in there. These are being the caches. This is a really cool blade. I guess it's a scraper, like a hand scraper. It's even got like a little finger spot for it. And it is very sharp. You can see the curve on it and everything. The craftsmanship in this is incredible. But also on this one, even though, you know, it's probably a piece of art, it also has like a little finger, you know, it's even curved in there so that you can put your finger in there and do your drawing or your scraping, perhaps in clay or carving wood and things like that. Some of these have little chiseled out, poked out eyes for bird heads. The back of it probably resemble a whole bird somehow, but you can see that chiseled out eye inside there, relatively deep. And you see the trend of bird head after bird head here. A lot of these are just, you know, the whole bird here, like a duck sitting down. A lot of them. You'll be able to see. And then if you ever start to get confused about, you know, any of this stuff, you can always go back to the toy. Episode 1 there really goes through, you know, the bird like this, the bird like this. You know, there's several different, it kind of teaches you. I think this child's toy is one of my most important pieces because it teaches us how to see this art, that you have to kind of turn things around and look at it in certain ways. Of course, this is a bird, very defined bird, but when you put it like this, looks just like a regular old rock, doesn't it? You know, you'd be looking around on this thing like, oh, well, what is it? Cha-ching! There it is. And doing that over the course of 2 or 3 weeks is what taught me how to learn to see this art. It's a beautiful bird. So, same deal with this one. You can kind of look at it from this way. It looks just like a chunk, perhaps. But once you get it in the right angle, and you put it right there where all the flat edges are, you can see that it is a definitive bird. Now, maybe this was a pre-mold for a bird. Maybe they were taking this piece and maybe just slicing off this top section to create smaller, thinner birds. Maybe like this. So some of these do have to kind of get moved around for you to get put at the correct angle. Let's try this one here. You can see the red, the paint, and the color, and the beak. Oh, wow. So, yeah, so you can see the bird, but then you also see the eye right there. What is going on right there in that spot? Oh, my goodness. Is that a tiny face in that little... Maybe not. I might just be seeing things, but... You can see the eye there. I was thinking that for a second there was a face inside the eye, but this stuff sometimes can get you by surprise. It'll make, once you start to see stuff, it'll make your heart try to jump out of your shirt. I'm telling you, it gets intense. This art grabs you by the soul in ways that nothing else in this world can. But we're going to keep it light for you guys. These are just the duck heads here, bird heads. Got a couple different types of styles of this right here. This, you know, maybe just like a tool, but more than likely he's a, you know, you can see the portrait picture on there. It's one of the archetypes. So with these, I also have some very large totems, so stay tuned for that. Let me go ahead and explain a little bit about what I've discovered. And this could be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. But there are some archetypes for these, for the images that are in these, for the people. There's like a big, what I call a big nose variant. There are a woman, a very defined woman that has long hair shooting back as if she's like riding on the back of a motorcycle. There's archetypes, and so after a little while, I know it might sound bad, but you know that baseball team, with the big Indian, I guess it was, is it the Indians with the feathers sticking out? Was it Chief Maho or something? He is one of the archetypes. He's actually in front of the mound, the one statue that was right in the front of the mound there when I first walked up to it the first time I saw him. That's one of the archetypes as well. Kind of a rounded face with a feather, you know, coming out the back, probably a very large feather. I'm not sure what this is. It might be some type of adobe or clay, but it's made out of the same type of material that the stuff at the Arrowhead is. Relatively. Actually, no, that's a lie. This is made out of a grainy type of material that I find destroyed in the construction site a lot. This is made of a different type. Might be like a clay or something, but you can see on the inside there where it's been burned. And I believe I found this during a fire pit disassembly, but you can see this. If anyone knows what this stuff is, you can see the burn marks on it. I'm not gonna, you know, be able to, I don't want to destroy this stuff. It's very fragile. I'm keeping it in bags so that it doesn't get wet. It's like at the same time though, I can't just keep it in my closet and not show anybody, right? So I've got to spend a lot of work to show you guys all this stuff. I'm not sure what this is. It's a weird material. It's light. Maybe it's like a flattened antler, perhaps. I'm really not sure. Let's go ahead and look at just a couple more down here. This is a giant, I guess what they would call a thunderbird. It's a giant bird head, or like an eagle's head. That slash right there is his eye. Go ahead and flip him over here. Now he's a bird in flight. You'll see these all around the mound. You see that bird flying there? So this is one of the styles of bird. As I said, there's several different ones. You know, you got the painted on ones. You've got the ones that are just on there with the portrait, like this one. And like this one. And then you have the large, I guess this would be granite. So you have your bird in flight and you have your bird head. That's the style of this stuff. Of course, you'll probably have different images in this as well. I'd like to show you this map here. Oh, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and look at another one, because I've got another one of these. Same kind of deal. This one is also going to be the bird in flight. Somehow it's been damaged. You can see that it's rubbed. So some construction equipment has damaged it. But if you see those V's, pick them up and take a look at them, because more than likely it's a piece of art. So this stone has lines that are drawn into it. I believe this is a map. Also, I guess could resemble a bird head, but when you get, yeah, it looks better that way. So you can get into the lines there and you can see all the map river lines, I believe they are. You can see them connecting to each other down there. And I'm curious if the height of this rock, if there were mountains and hills, perhaps maybe over here is Raleigh and over here is, you know, Greensboro or something, or maybe this is Charlotte, you know, who knows? If anyone knows the way these rivers, if these river lines look familiar. The back of this stone I don't think has a whole lot. It's still pretty dirty. I'm not trying to clean it off too much. I got this piece of soapstone, and this soapstone is a beautiful woman, but it's also multifaceted, so you're going to have a lot of different images in it. I took some pictures and drew some pictures of this already, and I'm interested to do more on this piece. I've got to keep it safe because it is a softer stone. But in one instance, you'll have a small face right here, and there's kind of a cover and like a big head covering where just her face is right there. And then in another image, it's a larger woman's, like a larger face of a woman, and then her hair just comes back and she doesn't have all that additional headdress. Her head's more open, I guess you could say. Like you could see her forehead and stuff. And this one, she's all tucked in the front one, and then the rear one, it's more of a natural open, still with designs and things on it as well. I've drawn some pictures of that when I was really able to see these very well. As I've said, this is a skill. When I first was able to start seeing the images, it was pretty intense, and so I backed off of it for a little while. And once you back off of it for a little while, it does become harder to see it. So it's a skill, it's a trained thing. You have to keep it up if you want to keep doing it, I think. So it's not something that one day I woke up and I just felt normal, and I was so scared that I had lost the ability to see these. So then I would, grab a piece and look at it to make sure, because it's something that really you guys want to be able to see. It's a beautiful thing. It changed my life. I believe that, yeah, I mean, if you're into this kind of stuff, follow the channel. I'm trying to teach people how to see this stuff. There's no reason why I should be the only one. And I'm sure I'm not. I know there are a couple others that can see these, but I don't know if anyone has been able to maintain their sanity because this stuff is really intense when you start seeing it. Plus, if you're the only one who's seeing it, and you got archaeologists telling you just have pareola or whatever, it can be kind of discouraging. So like I said, luckily I found that gateway piece. If you haven't seen that as evidence, if you're not seeing any of this stuff, the bird heads and things that I'm talking about, if you're still on the fence about this ancient art and how the ancient people used to, of course, paint faces and things on rocks, go ahead and check out that gateway piece, because that piece is the strongest evidence that I have for this. There's my tooth inside. So there is a tooth in here, in this bag of crystals. It looks like it's a baby tooth. It's not like or it could be a fox tooth or an animal tooth or something like that. But in my initial emails, and there's also a seashell in there, if you see. So these are in the caches. That's a seashell, or a snail shell, perhaps. And inside here, there's also a tooth, and some other things. I've got a lot of things in little bags, and I still have got lots of other smaller things to go through. Lots of other, still got plenty of good bird beaks and lots of other things here that I could show you guys. There's tons more, but I just wanted to try to pull out some of the best that I have in the short amount of time that I have to do this today. I will go through some of the totems with you guys. Let's just walk over here real quick and I'll show you a few that I have out. So this one right here is a guy with a bearskin cap. So you can see the eye there, or maybe it's like a bird hat or something, but he's got an eye there for his hat, and his face would be in here, and maybe he has like a red beard. Okay, so he's like a totem. And then let's see what he is on the other side. Yeah, so this is like a giant bird head, like again with the cardinal. He's got his little top coming off and his eye. Now this material, I don't think this is soapstone. I think this is that crafted material that that little arrowhead piece is on. And you'll see this emblem. You'll see these types of emblems on these. So that's an orange emblem right there. It's painted on. It's not like a rust spot. That's a paint, and that's an ant right there. But you will see some emblems on some of these, and I'm trying to find out. I know emblems are important, so we could probably find out where these are coming from with these emblems. So this one, I believe, is an alligator or crocodile head, and if you take a look at his jagged teeth there, you can see how they're very definitively chiseled out. More than likely tilted to the side, that's going to be a hairline, and you have to, of course, look at it from the back as if you're looking over the shoulder. There's a couple of these totem mans here. This one is got some very interesting striations in it. This one is also going to be a profile picture. You can see there hair is coming up to the top. I haven't looked at a lot of these, and like I said, I'm trying to kind of relax my eyes on seeing this art. It does get kind of intense, and I need to stay unintense so that I can show you guys this kind of stuff. This is one of the long nose variants. He had an eye pack over here, and I think this is one of the ones where I was able to pull the eye pack off and get some paint, pictures of some paint. But he's a long nose variant, and he's other things on the other side. But that's It's a piece of ancient art. It's amazing. I've got a lot more. I've got some very large totems, and I'll go ahead and make another video about that stuff later. But until then, guys, have a great day. I'll go ahead and show these all to you one more time real quick as we close over here. I guess never did really look at this one. Of course, the really cool bird there. I think this one has color on the bottom, and so I believe he's going to have a face down at the bottom, just in the white. If you look at the white, you see the two eyes and the nose there, and there's probably some more going on. Of course, you look at the whole thing to the left, it's a profile, but really what it is a bird, and you can see the curve there, pecked outness. Pecked outness, is that a archaeological term? Not sure. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I know this is a long one. Got a lot to do today on a Friday, so it's pretty early. Just wanted to get this out to you guys as soon as I could, because I got to put this stuff away. Check the channel description, as I said, for ways to help. We want to just get this site noticed so that we can collect these artifacts, and that way they don't get destroyed. Thank you.